Assalamualaikum and hello there. So we come again on continuing the second part of the service management class, chapter 4, service encounter. So I am continuing the lecture at this slide, which is the customer that I have last time stopped here. So let's get it started on the customer slide. Okay, the customer. Okay, basically in the service encounter triad or service encounter triangle, the customer is the third node of the triangle. The first node is basically service provider. The second node is basically the service representative. And now the last node is the customer, which is me, you, and also the people who are purchasing services from service provider. Okay, as customer, they have expectation. Okay, normally the expectation is high. They expect higher than what they can really predict, right? And the attitudes also available for customer. Customer has attitude, for example, expecting the product to be delivered on time with the minimum cost, and basically the product perform as the expected. Okay, in discussing on expectation and customer, we could say that customer are focusing on economizing the service. Okay, so it means that customer is paying a greater detail of the service features so that they can get the higher value or the highest value out of their effort, money, and time. Okay, take a look on the economizing customer for the airline like Air Asia. So, in this perspective, Air Asia's slogan is now everybody can fly. So the question is how you can ensure that everybody can fly. So for at what cost your customer has to pay so that they can fly, and in what way they can fly. So customer is looking to economize the service of airline like Air Asia, for example. Customer is economizing on the airline fees or airline ticket, right? So they are looking for a better bargain. So because they want to get the higher value for their income or for their purchase. So they are also economizing in terms of the cost that they pay on every individual item. For example, if you want to have a hot seat, then you have to have the added pay. So they are economizing on the menu of food which is served at Asia. If you need it, you order it. If you don't want it, so you don't have to order. So that is the aspect of economizing customer. Customer is paying every aspect of the service, including what only including what they need. Okay, that is economizing customer. Like for the ethical customer, on expectation and attitude, normally customers are looking for companies or service provider that are giving back to the customer itself or giving back to society. One good example that we could explain on ethical customer is customer who are purchasing service by fast food like McDonald's. So normally, customer will tend to be loyal if they see that the service provider or the company is giving back to society or is giving back to particular unfortunate group or giving back to society at large, I would say. So in this case, McDonald has a, I would say, community program they call McDonald House. So McDonald House is basically helping parents and family members who have their family member being hospitalized. So they cater for this kind of customer. So customer will see that McDonald as a responsible service provider. As such, they tend to be loyal to McDonald's service. Okay, personalizing customer. I would say that personalizing customer is very much related to hospitality. For example, like hotel that you frequently book or frequently stay at. So if you are getting personal greeting from the clerk or from the service counter, because you have been so familiar, because the hotel has been so familiar with you. So personalizing customer means that when they see you as a frequent customer coming, they immediately could greet you by name, say Mr. Smith, or greeting Dr. Rosmaini, for example. So in Holiday Inn, one of the hotel that I stay, so upon checking in at the Holiday Inn service counter, say paying the booking, credit card, they are taking my details. So when I check in into their rooms, so one of the first thing that you do when you check in into the hotel room is basically you switch on the power, and then you you may switch on the television. So upon knowing that I switch on the television, at the television flat screen, the first thing I could see is "Welcome, Dr. Rosmaini, to Holiday Inn Hotel." So that would feel I am greeted personally by the hotel itself. So we feel good by having that kind of personalized service given by the hotel service. Okay, so expectation and attitude in the form of convenience for customer. Okay, we as customer, since we are thinking that we have paid for the service, we expect for convenience, and the transaction should be smooth, the transaction should be fast and comfortable and making us happy. So if you shop at Shopee, they will make you convenient in the form of giving you tokens or coin to keep retaining you as a customer, and you may have a repeat purchase to Shopee because of the token or the coins reserved for you as part of the incentive of the purchase. Those are expectation and attitudes normally reserved by customer in order to render the service by any service provider. As a customer, normally the service provider has a very particular script in co-production. Okay, as a customer, you also normally have normal script, or I would say the normal conversation that you engage in when you get the service. For the service provider, okay, these expected scripts are normally reserved or remembered by service provider itself and also by the customer himself or herself. For example, if you take a look at Petronas petrol station, okay, when you enter the shops, which is the glass window there, you enter, normally you will notice that the cashier at the counter will greet you, "Selamat pagi," "Assalamualaikum," or "Selamat datang." So those are a role of script in production, because service provider has been trained or has been inculcated that you have to greet, smile, ask whether you could help. So those are a role of script in co-production. And we, as a co-producer, which is a customer, normally we also have our own script. If you are greeted, "Good morning," normally we will greet back. So if you are being asked, "Can I help you?" you may say, "Yes, I'm looking for such and such product," or "That's okay, I can search for myself." So those are expected script by providers and customers. Okay, since both service provider and customer are necessary in order to execute the service delivery, so normally producer uh, serve a real value to customer, and customer added a value back to the service provider in terms of that service loop is concerned. So that is the service loop, which is scripted by the service provider, and later customer reply back with their own normal script. So this is also done at Hilton hotels and resorts. So normally when you enter the I would say lobby or entrance, the I would say converge people who take your luggage or people who take your car will greet you and ask you, "How may I help?" or "Can I take your luggage to the customer counter?" and so on. So that is what it meant by the role of script in co-production viewed by the customer. So as such, the customer is actually the third nodes or the third component of the service encounter or service triangle. So let's have a look the success factor of service encounter. What makes service encountering successful or delightful and happy for customer? So in this Y column, you have the human and machine, which is a customer column. And the axis column, you have the service provider, in which level is also human and machine. So in the this is a first quadrant, second quadrant, third quadrant, and fourth quadrant. So let's take a look how the service and encounter can be successfully delivered. Okay, at the first quadrant, it is a human to human, in which this service encounter normally you could encounter in this effort of perhaps attending interview to apply for jobs, right? This is you as the interviewee, and there are three interviewers from the company. So this is basically human to human service encounter, in which the company has to select best five candidates out of perhaps 50 candidates. So here, normally the interpersonal skill play the big role in ensuring that the service delivered successfully. So this is directly human to human interaction. Secondly, the quadrant number two, it is interaction of service encounter between machine and human. Here, basically, the machine itself need to deliver a very intuitive interface. Or it means that what next to do must make common sense to customer who are interacting with the machine. For example, the automated teller machine or perhaps the cash deposit machine. So it must be intuitive. So it must guide a customer what next move that the customer must do in order to operate the machine. So it requires some verification and also security, like password and so on. So machine must make the access easy for human to use the service. The third quadrant is known as interaction between human and machine, which is the customer is the machine and the service provider is human. Okay, in this case, I would say the quadrant number three is well represented by this CCTV monitoring by the security person in charge. Okay, so the machines is basically the CCTV, the network, the server, the camera, the integrated monitoring system. So these are the machine, and the service provider normally the human will engage the service to monitor the CCTV for any abnormality, for any breach of security. So basically, human is the service provider, and the machine is the customer. Okay, so this is quadrant three. Whereas over the last quadrant, which is quadrant four, the service provider is machine and the customer is machine itself. Okay, how about do we understand, better understand and explain this quadrant four? It is machine to machine interaction, yet they could execute a success in service delivery. I would say quadrant four is well represented or better explained in the form of autonomous car and its driver. So the machine is basically the navigation system, right? And the customer is basically it's I would say the autonomous driving system itself. So the machine is interacting with the internet in order to read your navigation location, where do you want to go. So and this system must be compatible. So it must track from time to time that where are the location, and they will compare with the map in terms of the direction of the movement. And of course, it needs some very secured verification as far as accessing the system. And the system, in whatever mode itself of operation, if it fails, the system must be safe. So if the system fails to operate, the human can take over the driving of the car. So those are the four quadrant of success factor in delivering customer service. Okay, here is the charts depicting the relationship between customer and also employees. This is a survey of about 23 or 26 bank branches, and it correlates between what the employee says to the customer, or what the employee says among themselves, and it influence or reflect in the survey, and that survey is answered by the customer itself. Okay, say in that organization, for example, a bank, if the employees keep saying positive thing about the working environment or about the good benefit they receive from Maybank, if they tell among themselves and they say it to customer will respectively give a good feedback in terms of the survey to Maybank. For example, the customer heard that the Maybank employee saying that the benefit or the salary here paid is rather high. So if you done that kind of particular survey into that customer will rate high equally to the service of the bank itself. So you could see that I would say this is matching. Like 4 employees says good about the organization, like Maybank, and equally about another 4 customer will also say good about the service delivered by Maybank to the customer himself or herself. So it is interrelated. What the employee feel and say about the organization to customer, and the customer will respectively perceive that the delivered service by the bank is respectively good, positive, and satisfactory and satisfying. Okay, this is how to interpret the chart. Okay, this is what they interpret into satisfaction dualism, which is like the previous slide. I explained that whatever employee says, it reflects on customer perceived benefit. Okay, so this is how the chart is being transformed or explained in the form of these two column. Okay, the right column is the higher customer satisfaction. Okay, will also lead and influence a higher employee satisfaction. In other words, if the employee is highly satisfied with the, I would say, employer, with the company, and it leads to higher customer satisfaction. Okay, remember, this is a relationship. It is affecting to this side, the customer satisfaction, customer satisfaction influencing higher employee satisfaction, and at the same time, higher employee satisfaction are also influencing higher customer satisfaction. Okay, let's take a look on the satisfaction dualism in the perspective of a company. Again, I would like to refer my explanation to our common example, which is everybody could imagine or could easily understand, AirAsia. Okay, if the service provider and the employee of AirAsia are well trained and they are happy in the working environment, they receive good benefit packages, they receive good incentive, then customer will be more familiar with the work environment that they need to deliver. And in other words, they will be more diligent and they will be more, I would say, proactive to learn more about the work and also needs and ways to meet the expected or work to be done. In return, if customer are more familiar with customer needs and the ways to meet the customer expectation, then customer will be satisfied and repeat purchases could be expected from AirAsia customers. Okay, respectively, if the customer has a stronger tendency about the complaint about the service error, okay, to the our service provider, the greater opportunity for recovery from errors could be assessed by I would say workers in order to correct the situation. Okay, the higher the satisfaction of the employee, which leads to, of course, higher productivity. It means that workers are willing to do more works within the given specific time, right? That means higher productivity, which is higher output with the same time range given. Okay, with the higher productivity, which is the AirAsia employees are willing to do more work within the given, say, working hour of 8 hours per shift, then it will lead to lower costs in delivering the service. And as such, of course, improve quality of service, will lead to better customer experience and better result, okay, experienced by AirAsia customers themselves. Okay, that is satisfaction dualism as far as how employee affect customer satisfaction. Okay, let's take a look on the service profit chain. Okay, these are the service profit chain. Like in product the development, it is a value chain. I would say let's take a look on our far left here on the internal of the company. This is the internal of like a company with a good and excellent service like Singapore Airlines. Internally, they have a good operating strategy and they also have a good service delivery system. As such, it bonds employee loyalty. Higher loyalty will lead to higher productivity. Higher productivity will also deliver high quality outcome of work, and this will definitely contribute to higher service quality. Okay, these are all experienced by employees, so they have high satisfaction. They are willing to go for higher capability, improving their task capability, and so on. So internally, this will be delivered in the form of the service concept, which is service based on value, and it will go outside to the external to customer, in which you could see that by customer satisfied, they are being loyal to Singapore Airlines, and as such, it's contribute to the sales growth and also equally profitability. So, in dualism perspective, if the revenue growth, it means profitability will also grow. This sales grow and higher profitability will lead to, I would say, customer loyalty because customer feel satisfied. And customer satisfaction will also contribute to the realization of service by value. And it leads to higher quality and productivity, right? And moving backward, it will contribute to higher productivity internally and also satisfied employee as for Singapore Airlines currently experiencing. Okay, so for internally to have the good operating strategy and service delivery, they must have the good workplace design. Okay, they must have the reward and recognition. They must have excellent IT or ICT technology in place to support efficient work or efficient performance. And this will lead to, of course, higher service quality. And in the long term perspective, it will lower the overall service delivery costs. And this provide value to customer. And for example, a value of being a delivery of a flight on time, or I would say a flight destination arrive on time. Okay, and this will lead to retention of employees, and also the service is being referred to others, so that others also are persuaded to experience the service. And of course, this is the overall relation or value chain of service profit chain. So that is the interrelationship of the both system, how it works. Okay, my students, this would be ending my lecture. In the subsequent topic, in the subsequent content of the textbook, there are a few discussion on Amy's ice cream. I would say you have to read the case study, right? So Amy's ice cream situation or enterprise rent a car. These are the case study for you to read to have better understanding, and perhaps some of them I will engage into this. I would say individual assignment. Okay, so by that, I would say I'm wrapping up my lecture here. For the second part, it is about 25 minutes, and I would like to thank you for your attention, and I would like to expect you to follow through my lecture until the end, which is the both first part and second part, so that you can follow the whole thing of the discussion. And again, I would like to thank you for your attention, your time, and your effort to absorbing my lecture for your understanding of Chapter 4, Service Encounter. And thank you again.